Hi ladies, how are you all? Hope you're all doing really well and keeping healthy. First day of January, actually it's third or fourth day of January now, I've lost count. Right, so for today's video I'm making something a bit let's say fast food, but a healthy version. So today we're making some pizza, homemade pizza, but I'm gonna do a bit of a twist on it to make it a bit healthier, a bit full of packed with fiber, and a bit more easy to make at home, you know, especially if you're someone who has not made pizza before at home. So I'm not using the traditional plain flour, I'm using wholemeal flour, and this is the wholemeal flour that we usually use to make chapatis or you know, like wholemeal naans. So as you can see flakes of wholemeal in here. It's not refined like you'll find white flour. So this actually means it's got lots of fiber in it, and it will be much more of a healthier version, especially if you're on a low calorie diet, or you know, you want to have a meal with, you know, lots of fiber in it. So right, so we're going to go through the exact same process as you would do if you're using normal flour. So here I've got the plain flour, the wholemeal flour, and in this little pot here I've got some water, some lukewarm water, so it's kind of warm and not too cold, not too warm. And in here I'm going to add some dried yeast. I'm going to leave that in there for about 5 minutes to activate, and then we're going to add it into the flour. We're going to give it a good mix, and then we're going to put it on the side for it to rise, and then we're going to start rolling. Right, so we're going to add in the yeast. Now in a typical pizza recipe, when you add in the yeast, you would add in your sugar as well if your recipe requires sugar. But I'm not actually going to add sugar in this base. And the reason why is because my sauce is going to be one of those ready-made sauces, and they contain, you know, a fair amount of sugar, not too much. So the sweetness will kind of balance. Now, remember, very important tip. Yeast and salt are not friends at all. Now, if your recipe requires salt, make sure you add the salt in the dry flour, not in the yeast. Otherwise, the yeast will not activate. So we're going to give this about 5 minutes, and then when you see that it's starting to fizz, like, you know, like fizzy drink, that's when you know that it's time to add into your flour. Right, so this has been sitting around for about 5 minutes. So now we're going to add it into the flour, just like this. Right. Sorry, I'm working one-handed today, as you can notice. I'm not in my usual kitchen. Right, so now we're going to give this a good mix. Now, I'm going to mix this, and then I'm going to come back and show you what it looks like once it's really good mixed. Now, I'm also... See, Daisy? Right, so I'm going to give this a good mix. And then I'm going to put it on a side to rise, and we're going to leave it to rise for about 1 hour. And you want to put it in a nice warm place. Now, because we're in the middle of winter, we have the heating on most of the time. So if your heating is on, the best place to put your pizza dough to rise is near the radiator. Alright ladies, so here is my wholemeal pizza dough, which I had put on a side to rise under the radiator. And as you can see the bubbles. Can you see the bubbles? And these bubbles are forming because that shows that the yeast is activating. Now, the actual amount of the dough is really small. It's probably like a handful, right? But because it's kind of rise with the yeast, it's quite a lot. Now, if I touch it with my hands, can you see it's really stretchy? It's stretchy and it's soft. Now, this isn't the texture of a typical pizza dough that you'll get with normal refined white flour. And the reason for that is wholemeal flour is a lot more stretchier. And if you are going to make a very solid base with this, it's going to come out really thick. So you want to let your oven do all the work by making it form into like a solid pizza base. And don't hesitate. Don't be worried why it's sticking to your hands. Once you grease your hands with oil, then it will come off very easily. So now what we're going to do, this was sitting under the radiator for about an hour and a half. So I know it's had the maximum time to rise, and it's not going to rise anymore. So now I'm going to shape this into the oven dish, and then we're going to start putting the toppings on. Oops, easy. Now I've got a very small pizza dish here. I've already made one pizza, so I'm going to be making another one now. So you can see the crust on the side. I'm not going to bother washing it because it's just going to be used for another pizza. But this time I'm going to put some grease-proof paper on it, and that's just going to help the pizza easily come out. So what you want to do is you want to very easily just kind of shape it inside as if you're making a tart, and you're going to be shaping the pastry in the tin. Right? And then what you want to do is that you want to grease your hand with a little bit of olive oil. And I'm going to grease my hand with olive oil like that. And then you get your dough. Right? Put it in your dish, and then using your hand, you want to spread it out. Now I'm going to pause the video for a second, and I'm going to use both of my hands to spread the dough out. But what I want to show to you that when you have a pizza texture like this, there's no need to use a rolling pin. Number one, you're going to struggle because the dough is going to stick to the rolling pin, and secondly, it's just not going to sit firmly and nicely. This way is a lot more easier. And actually, if you go to Italy, or you go to traditional pizzerias or, you know, Italian shops, they don't actually use rolling pins. They just grease their hands and they stamp the base with their hands, and they get the finest texture and they get the finest thinness and proportion. And it's much more easier, it's much more faster. You don't need to be trained, you don't need to be experienced, and you know, it's a lot more fun as well. Right, so let me just use both my hands and spread this out. Right, so I've got my daughter, actually I called my daughter over to help me assist. So I'm just going to use both of my hands, and I'm going to spread this out. Make sure you spread it out all the way. Right, now you have a choice. You can pre-bake the base, or you can just put the toppings on now and then bake it on a low heat for a long amount of time. So I am going to put the base on now and then put all the toppings on. So here I have some shop brought pizza sauce, and I'm just using there's no such thing as pizza sauce like with all these chunks. I'm just using a pasta sauce, and I've added a few spices or like salt and pepper and some paprika. Right, spread your sauce out, and then I've got some toppings here. Now for the toppings, you can choose anything you like. Because I'm making a vegetarian pizza, I'm going to add some onions, some peppers, and I'm going to try and add as many vegetables as I can. And going to add some yellow peppers. I've got some olives. You can literally take out anything you like and add it on your pizza. I've got some jalapenos. I'm going to add some sweet corn. And I'm also going to add some pineapple because I like a Hawaiian kind of flavor on my pizza. Right, and the last but least, the most important ingredient to complete a pizza is, yes, you guessed it right, it is cheese. So I'm going to be adding a lot of cheese on here because I like a very cheesy pizza, and I'm not going to feel guilty about it. Right, so here goes our pizza, our cheese, and there you go. Our pizza is ready, and this is going to go in the oven for about 20 minutes, and you want to put it on a low heat. The reason why you want to put it on low heat, remember our base is not cooked. It's going to cook slowly in the oven. Right, and then I'm going to come back to you and show you how it looks. All right, ladies, here's our lovely, delicious pizza come out of the oven. It looks so delicious and so fresh. And actually, if I was to go out and buy this pizza, I think it'll cost me about £6. So we're saving money here as well, and getting a lovely taste and texture, and homemade, full packed with veggies and fiber, and I haven't got all the, you know, nonsense grease that you would have in a shop brought pizza or a takeaway pizza. So as you can see, this looks so good, and I'm going to cut this and I'm going to have a slice, and I'll take some pictures to show you how it's going to look, and I can tell you it's going to taste amazing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you can make a video for yourselves. I hope you can make a pizza for yourself as well at home. And if you do, send me videos and send me pictures and show me how it's cooked and how it looks. So all right, ladies, have fun, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye bye.